You're listening to The Authenticity Show, where you get to eavesdrop on great conversations about health, creativity, and the quest for excellence. Your hosts are Carlos Casados and Satch Purcell. Before we get started, I'd like to remind you to please subscribe to The Authenticity Show wherever you get your podcast, and find us on social media. That means like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and check out our YouTube page. This is a nice short little episode where Satch reveals the secret of happiness. It's in here, so you don't want to miss it. Let's find out what it is.
I was on a walk this week. I took a little break from, because right now we're recording this during the COVID-19 pandemic, right? So I've been doing a lot of working from home, and I just needed to just walk around the block a couple times, get some sunshine and just get out from underneath a roof, right? So I was on a walk, and I spontaneously started practicing this exercise. And so this is an exercise I'm going to share with you and anybody who wants to try this. This is really, really, really simple. I highly recommend it, and it's hilarious, and it caused me to just laugh out loud, literally, while I'm walking down the streets on my own, okay? Nice. It sounds silly, but bear with me for a second.
Okay.
And you could do this at any place, any time, but I do recommend going for a walk. And while you're walking, just find something like a tree. It's better to do this with something that's alive, okay? Something that is alive, like a large creature like a tree, or bushes, or maybe even grass, okay? And walk and practice allowing that thing to be itself and have its own free will. Right? Okay. Hey, Satch, what are you doing? I am actively right now allowing that tree to go ahead and be itself. See how I'm doing that? Right? And then you walk past it, and then you pick something else, and you say, now I'm going to let that bird, go ahead, just be a bird. I'm going to let you. And walk by. And do that for a little while. And then laugh even harder when you allow yourself to just be yourself. I'm just going to let myself be myself. And it's funny, I think this might have been a lesson for me this week, because I had this experience, and it felt really good to do that. I was laughing at myself, saying, what are you doing, letting a tree be a tree? Yep, that's right. I'm letting that tree be a tree. Because what am I really doing? Nothing. Or everything, all at the same time? I don't know. But today, this point was driven home with an experience that I had with my wife, Tanya.
Oh.
Okay? So I have to set the stage for this. It's just a real quick reminder. For those that don't know, my wife, Tanya, has multiple sclerosis, right? She's 45, and she's quadriplegic, and she has some difficulties with her ability to speak and her ability to think and remember and these kinds of things. And sometimes when a person is like that, the most amazing wisdom will come from them. And it comes from them almost mindlessly, which makes me trust it even more. It's like when somebody says, from the mouths of a babe. Right? Like a child doesn't really know what they're saying, yet they can sometimes say the most profound things. Today, I walked in, and I was doing my stuff with her. I don't know what I was doing, feeding her or something, right? And I just wanted to make her smile, and I said, hey, I said, look at you, Smiley. I said, you look pretty happy. And she smiled and looked happy. And I said, are you happy? And she goes, I said, on a scale of 0 to 100, how happy are you? And she goes, 100. I said, you're 100 out of 100 on the 0 to 100 happiness scale? She goes, I said, what's the secret? How can other people become 100 on the 0 to 100 happy scale? And she goes, she kind of gets her mouth ready to swallow, and she goes, be themselves. I said,
Wow.
I mean, it was so good, it stopped me in my tracks.
Wow.
I said, so you're saying that for people to be happy, the secret to happiness is to be yourself? And she says, I'm like, that's pretty deep. The secret to happiness is being yourself.
That's profound.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, what you were talking about allowing the grass to be grass and allowing the cat to be cat and the tree to be a tree and all these kinds of things. I'm very aware, especially this week, about the polarity that happens when we intend something. We always have to look at how is there a polarity created by thoughts and feelings, behaviors even. So in that case where you're practicing the allowing, it may seem, to a person who's never tried it might seem inane. Why are we doing this? What the hell? But if you were to do something like that and allow yourself to be in that state where you could do it, you are you're paving the way for you to feel that way towards yourself, because you're taking one end of that polarity and you're doing it.
Okay.
So if you want to receive a lot, it's kind of a common thing. You'll hear people talking about being grateful. Practice gratitude. You want your unconscious mind to do more for you? Take time every day and actually be grateful to your unconscious mind. Direct that gratitude towards your unconscious mind, because it's already doing stuff for you anyway. But as you start to deepen the gratitude and the feelings of gratitude and the appreciation and the respect and all those things, you're going to start to feel more respected. You're going to start to feel more like you're given things by your unconscious. It's going to feel like you're supported. And in relationships,
like
when
that.
you compliment your lover or your friends or whoever, you're inviting the same in return. But even if they didn't verbalize it, there's a residual feeling of that you generate in that process that feels good. So you're getting when you're giving. It's a polarity.
Yeah.
So there are these polarities that exist everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that idea. Yeah, that's how thoughts and feelings create polarity, because polarity creates movement.
It does.
And
it's one part of a whole.
Yeah, it's potential energy.
It's Tai Chi.
Yeah.
Yin and yang.
Yeah.
They don't exist in isolation. You cannot, you don't get things in general without doing something for it.
True. Yeah.
Even the milk you get from your mother is only there because you were born.
Yeah, yeah. And you do have to suckle.
You have to suckle or it won't get in. You can, there has to be one in combination with the other. Otherwise it just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And when someone is arguing or insulting you or bullying you, is one of the things I teach kids after I teach them about self-esteem and learning how to kind of separate themselves and a variety of things. One of the things I teach them is, help the person who's insulting you to do it even better. What? Why would you support them insulting you? But if you think about it, it just completely steals their thunder. Yeah. Someone says, you know what, your clothes are not matched. Yeah, duh. Why are you offended? Just say, yeah, duh. Like, I'm glad you noticed. Or you're not invited to the party. Oh my God, thank goodness.
Right.
How are you supposed to get hurt if you responded that way? Or if they say, you're stupid. Oh, you don't know the half of it. I am so stupid, let me tell you. And you go on about it. Yeah. And because you're kind of taking charge of that moment and you're exaggerating a little bit, it starts to get to the level of ridiculousness. And you want to make it to the point where someone else listening would giggle. Like, oh my God, because if you can do that, you're already separating, you're kind of dissociating from the pain of it. And you're realizing in that moment that they're not really hurting you.
Yeah.
It's just words, and you're just playing with it, and you are creating a polarity. You're just
that
giving them more of it.
Yeah.
They knock on the door, you answer, but sometimes you answer a little bit more than they expected, and then they fall through the door because they were leaning on the door when they knocked on it.
It's kind of like
Tai Chi.
I always look at conversations as tossing a ball back and forth, and it's kind of like in a situation like that, like a bullying situation, or somebody's insulting you or something. They toss the ball, and you go, "Oh, thanks, I'll keep that."
Yeah.
but the ball, you know what I mean? Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, there's so many strategies. I mean, even stepping out of the way and looking at the ball as it rolls past you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you continue on your way. I mean, the idea is that, there is this polarity always. You can't really be truly insulted by someone if you don't actually receive the insult.
Yeah. The old Buddha and the gift story.
The Buddha and the gift story, yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I love
great.
that story.
Yeah, it's a good story. I love that one. Okay, I guess we have to tell the story real quick. I'll just do the fast version because I'm sure somebody out there is going, well, I don't know the Buddha and the gift story.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know which version you heard was, but...
the one told by Goenka.
Okay, yeah. I'm just thinking of I've heard it said in different ways where somebody basically is insulting, is saying some terrible things to the Buddha, and he's just as happy and peaceful as ever. And then he's questioned about this. I don't recall if it was the person who questioned him or somebody else questioned, but he used the analogy of if somebody gives you a gift and you don't accept it, then who's holding the gift? Mm-hmm. Basically, so if you just don't accept the insult, then the other person, so you can not accept it by fully accepting. It's your resistance to the insult that is the actual acceptance of it.
Right.
So if you don't accept it by not resisting it, therefore they're still holding it.
Yeah, because there's a polarity in an insult if you're insulted. Mm-hmm. For it to land, you have to take it as an insult, which means you're automatically creating the polarity there. Mm-hmm. So it actually exists. Yeah. But if you search in yourself for where that insult actually, whether it really lands or not, if you truly are in that place where it's like, oh, actually that doesn't apply to me, no.
Yeah.
And you truly felt that way, then it's not insulting, it's just kind of absurd. You're like, huh?
Yeah. I love what you said about it has to land. I think an analogy that I'm seeing is like if anybody has ever used a tens unit or a battery. Imagine you're gonna get shocked by you take a 9-volt battery and people would touch it to their tongue and it kind of like stings your tongue, right? Because you're actually creating electricity going from the negative and the positives, it's exchanging the positive to the negative, whatever. No, negative to the positive, I think. Anyway, you have to connect the leads. You have to make a connection to the two poles in order for the electricity to move.
Yes.
So if you have a tens unit and I put one electrode on you and I turn the machine on, but I don't put the other electrode on you, electricity is not flowing through the wires.
Right. It's the same with water.
Yeah, it's just exactly, it's still there. But if you do allow it to dock on you, then you get the shock.
Yep.
So the other person is one lead and they're trying to put the other electrode on you to shock you. And the idea is you go with it, you don't let it land on your skin.
Are you creating a circuit or not?
Exactly, yeah.
Because in a closed system, when you have water, it's the same thing. I mean, you have like closed system water. In order for that water to move, you have to have something be higher and something be lower. So that gravity assists with this pressure, right? Because the mass itself will move through it. So it's going to always water moves to the lowest place.
Yeah.
There's a Taoist principle.
Right.
It's a principle taken directly from nature. Right?
Yeah.
So there has to be that in order to make it work.
Yeah. All right. Well, deep philosophical questions or simple questions. What do you think? Any others that we
You've been listening to The Authenticity Show with your hosts Carlos Casados and Satch Purcell. My name is Oliver Althoen. I produce the show. I also wrote our theme song, which you're listening to right now. Please subscribe to the show, find us on social media, and you can find our website at authenticityshow.com. Thanks for listening. Have an authentic day.